Good morning. Welcome to the Prado Museum in Madrid, Spain. We're here again in our weekly sessions in English, thanks to American friends of the Prado Museum, live on social media programming. As a nonprofit, our mission is to support the Prado, and we encourage you to join us in this effort by joining us or our sister organization in Spain, the Fundación Amigos. This morning, we have the privilege of being here again a few minutes before the museum opens in a room dedicated to one of the great Flemish painters, the greatest in many people's opinion, Peter Paul Rubens. And this is a special room dedicated to his small format paintings. Many of us have in our idea his grandiose compositions, very large, and he also painted small format and could be very delicate. He, like no other 17th century painter, combined artistic talent with both economic and social success and a very, very high cultural level. And we're here looking at the painting today of the dance of the villagers and mythological figures, which is a wall panel, panel, oil painting on panel. He was a painter for both Catholic ideas and nostalgia for antiquity. And the Prado Museum has the largest collection of Rubens and also a very fine one. He, as King Philip IV, avidly collected paintings by Rubens, and just as an example, in the last few years of Rubens' life, commissioned over 80 paintings from the painter. But some paintings Rubens kept for himself, and this is one of the works that was acquired by King Philip IV upon Rubens' death and acquired from the family's estate. So could this mean that Rubens painted this painting for himself, or was it an unfinished commission? We don't know, but we believe it's a more personal painting. What we see here in this oil-on panel is a group of dancers that are dancing together to the tune of the flutist that's perched in the tree, making the music, and also the dancers who have bells on their lower legs. We see some of the dancers have bells, more than one. Thanks to the panel and the oil, there's texture added in the hair, the elements of the hair, the ornaments, and also especially where the sun hits the tree in this area. So this is actually Rubens defended that he thought panel was a great support for small format paintings. They're in a scene of Greek tradition that the countryside is idyllic, that it's a place of plenitude and romance and kind of personal freedom. And he's placed this group of villagers dancing in this countryside, idyllic countryside, whereas we see the landscape behind them with the colors that go from blue to green to brown in this beautiful landscape. And in the middle ground, there's a farmhouse that has classical neo-architecture and a very Palladian Renaissance structure that has an arc and lintel. And Rubens very much appreciated this type of architecture, as even had his own house in Antwerp fashioned in this sense. So he was looking at two traditions, the classical tradition in Italy, following the Renaissance, and also a genre, popular scene of villagers dancing. They're dancing in a way that's filled with movement. They're moving their limbs contorting their bodies. And this also goes back to the passionate feelings in dance that are reminiscent in classical Greek literature as well. They're very much trying to hold on to each other, not lose each other's hands. And there's figures here in the foreground. This lady who seems upset, that we're seeing at the moment, this lady, she seems upset with this figure, these two figures that seem to be becoming a couple. One who with her breast and the other figure very intently looking upon her. And then if we continue in the succession, there's another couple that seems like they're about to kiss each other. And this has to do with the passion of dancing and music. And following them, we have the one figure that we do believe we can identify as Dionysus. And this takes us to the bacchantes, to the dances that are inspired by Dionysus. And we know this because of the laurel wreath on his head and also the tiger skin. These are references, some of his attributes. And he seems very pleased with these two couples about to kiss each other. So this is what happens in Dionysus dances. To add to this whirling motion, we have dogs. Here's dogs that's moving in the same way as the spiral, this white dog here. And on the other side, mirroring him, is another dog. So these add to the spiral circles. And these dances that are flowing, and then there's whirling and the draperies. So the two dogs are continuing with the circle, everything's moving to the right. Their dress flows here, and it all adds to the movement. The women, well, we do know that we recognize Dionysus, and the other male figures seem to be inspired in mythology, but without the attributes. Say the flutist in the tree could be Pan, with the pipes of Pan, and he was much also very present in Dionysus in his parties. And the other male figures could be inspired on satyrs. And the women are dressed both kind of as peasants, and another have high-end clothing of a higher class, but yet none are dressed as contemporary women would have been dressed at the time. And also that their bare feet takes us to another place. So the interpretation from the Prado Museum curator Alejandro Vergara is that these are women that are reminiscent of all of the allegorical, mythological women that Rubens has painted throughout his lifetime. And so it's a classical painting and not a concrete place, but just taking us back to antiquity. And it's amazing that Rubens kept this for his own collection, and it came straight from his estate to the Prado Museum, thanks to acquisition by the King of Spain, King Philip IV, and there are many rooms dedicated to Rubens here. So we encourage you to come to the Prado Museum, investigate more about Rubens. And another interesting detail that we see is that there's always a detail of red in his paintings, and it catches our eye and brings us into the paintings. And so when you're seeing Rubens' paintings, look for a moment of red that draws you in. It's very, very often present as one of his painterly techniques. And he had an amazing education. He moved between different courts throughout Europe. He was very, very cultured. He had a double career, both as a painter and also a diplomat, and as a very important person of high standing, high social standing, and was one of the most fascinating figures of the 17th century. For many reasons. He was knighted both by the King of Spain and by the King of England. So he was like a superstar of the 17th century. And there's a wonderful collection here, and we welcome you to come back and to see it. So thank you for listening. Please share this information through your networks and find out about American Friends of the Prado Museum and the Fundación Amigos to help support this really great, wonderful museum. Thank you.